Thanks for coming on, Danny. I just want to have a quick chat about you, about Demons, coaching and different things like that. So first of all, just a big congrats with last year. I think he had a great season, by far and away the best team in the league, and I think everyone could see that. So I just want to know from you, like, what does it mean to the club now to be back in the Super League and to be back in like the kind of highest league, to be able to play for your players and all that?
Yeah, look, so obviously, look, it was the number one objective, I suppose, last year at the start of the league, I suppose, to get Demons back into Super League. But I think for me, it just goes back a bit further to that. So obviously, look, I moved back from Dublin there, kind of 4 years ago, just after I got married there, I moved back. And at the time, that summer, obviously, the talk was Demons were going over to the league because didn't kind of have enough players coming through from whether it be under 18 or the 20 level. There wasn't enough players within the current Super League team to make. There was obviously a certain number of players retiring, a certain number of players moving on, and different things like that. So it was obviously kind of sad enough, in terms of obviously after all my years in Dublin, waiting for Demons to come to play Marion, Vincent's Clester to go and see, some of my friends, obviously Demons, my club, go support them. And then obviously coming back, I was more looking forward to going down to the Marday, going to the hall, watching Demons, and obviously that was kind of taken away. The club then obviously kind of approached me about an opportunity to coach the under 20 team. Didn't really know too much about them guys because some of them guys would have been quite young when I moved to Dublin, and the plan was, look, these guys are the core group are first under 20, the likes of obviously Dave Lehan, Tala, Kevin Moynihan, so they were all kind of just approaching 90 years of age, and then you had the likes of Jack, Matthew McCarthy, Colin Hannigan, who were kind of approaching 17 years of age, and the plan was coach these over the next 2 or 3 years, and basically by the end of this we should be in a position that this could be the next National League team,
Yeah.
So we didn't really get the success the team probably deserved. Obviously the first year we got to the under 20 National League semi-final and COVID kicked in, so kind of that got taken away. So with a good under 20 team and kind of winning that, all we really won was a Cork League and a Cork Championship, because due to COVID and all that, the opportunity to play national cups was taken away. So then last year when we got the opportunity to go back, I had the likes of Dave Lehan, Tala, all them kind of at 21-year-olds, where their goal was to get up and play Super League. So obviously the likes of Kyle and Cuff and other couple of the older fellas came back to help us out.
Yeah.
So now, these guys are back, and we're back now in a much better position than I suppose the Demons were 4 years ago. We now have kind of a very competitive under 18 team. We'll have a very competitive under 20 team, and then we have a Super League team where the core age group, the average age, exclude one or two, are probably all at that 20 age group.
Yeah.
Like Talam's 22 in February, Dave Rehan is 22. Kevin Moynihan, Cian Looney, all that group are all of that age group. So
it's kind of hard, like when you're kind of when you say now 3 or 4 years ago, as a club going, you're kind of basing the future on 17 and 18-year-olds, but then you come forward then, and here you are now, and you have great kind of veterans now with Hozzy and stuff, but then you also probably are in the best position under 18, under 20 to go win national cups as well. And I think just like when you look back 4 years ago, you weren't even in a national competition senior level, and now you're back in the Super League, going to be obviously a competitive team, but then you also have the under 20s competing for national cups as well. But next question is, you go from now National League, Super League, what are the challenges as a coach now do you think that you're going to face?
The biggest challenge, obviously, look, is straight up, it's the standard, not necessarily standard of the professional player, because obviously there were some really good professionals in National League last year, but I think just the overall, the core group, the Irish players obviously played at a lot of higher level. I was kind of making reference even in training there last night about, in Super League, in National League, we really had to focus on, for instance, like Keith Jordan, Zach Powell, they were averaging 40. The team was combining to score 80, and the lads were averaging kind of nearly 40 a game, so it was stop them and you essentially win. Where in Super League, on any given day, there's a player with any given club that can step up and have theirs, like for instance, Larkin Murphy, let him plug, is well capable of going, for 40, whether it's, Neptune, obviously Downey, Keane Heafy last year, they had some, high scoring games, Quigley down in Tralee, So it's not necessarily you have to focus, you really have to focus on nearly a 10 deep squad. So the scouting reports, definitely the work done behind the scenes will have to be a lot more in depth And I'd have to familiarise myself with a lot of the players that last year I wouldn't really have been watching too much.
Yeah. Just in your like kind of recruits and stuff, probably the one that sticks out is probably the two Hannigans, getting the two of them in, two good friends of mine. But like I think when they came to me, it was kind of, what should we do? I said, do us. They're kind of at a crossroads in their age.
Yeah.
I said, do what's best for you. And you know, I said I'd never judge them. I think as a Neptune person, I like, if it doesn't work out, the door's always open. I think those days are kind of over, not over between Neptune and Demons, but it's kind of different era now. But just can you just kind of talk on the two of them, what they're going to bring, and your other recruits, if you even have them in yet, or if you have them.
Yeah, so look, obviously, as I said, since I came back coaching Demons, I coached at that age group, Dave Lehan's age. Obviously, let's say use him as a benchmark, and he's obviously the same age as Scott and James. So for the last kind of couple of seasons prior to last year, our biggest games would have been Neptune, and it would have been kind of Cian Heafy, Scott, James, and Eli would have been the marquee players. Yeah. And then obviously I would have had Dave, Blake, Kevin Moynihan, Cian Looney, kind of Luke Sutton, and then Tala, and obviously some of the young Jack and Matthew, some younger lads. So like on any given night, whether it be up in the hall on a Tuesday night or down in Neptune on a Thursday night, Scott or James were well capable of scoring, you know, high scoring games, because that was their level, you know, that was their age group, that's what they were playing. And also then I suppose even just, you know, doing the commentary with Basketball Ireland up at the Schools Cup, you know, I remember seeing them getting MVP of Cup finals with Neptune underage and getting MVP. So I was always kind of knew exactly the caliber type of player they were. And then, you know, obviously look, we kind of had conversations kind of this summer, you know, it was more so they'll tell you, it was more so everybody else telling us. I hadn't spoke to Scott or James, nor they had spoke to me. Yes, anybody I passed on the street, they were like, I heard Scott and James are playing with you. I heard they're up training.
I know. I mean, people are making up. They want it they want it to happen, so they'll make it up. Like, but go on anyway.
So it was a really silly season. So look, and then I think, look, when they came in, I was used to coaching against them and see what they could bring. But you know, from now the last couple of weeks, kind of coaching them, I can see just their intensity. And at the end of the day, like as I said to them, they first came in, you know, they were part of a great Neptune team. Obviously, like they played with yourself now, and you know Sean Jenkins around that age group, and you know, you were serial winners, you know. So they were part of that team that was winning under 18 cups, under 20 cups, schools cups, everything, you know. So like last year as all, it was great for us and for some of the guys we had, you know, it was a national title and all that. But these guys come in at 22 years of age, who, you know, individually they probably have 5 national cups and 1 or 2 schools cups and all that. So, you know, they're serial winners. They're very competitive even in training. They've always, I think, had that competition against themselves, being twins. And the debate was who's better, Scott or James, on any given day. You know, one steps up and then the other day another one steps up. So, you know, but even in training, I think that's what they bring, is just that competitiveness, especially at the guard spot. So look, it's the training's been going really well so far, and I think they've had just that competitive edge and made us a lot stronger and deeper at that spot.
And then, like, in terms of, well, pros, I remember last year you brought in American and you realised that you didn't probably need him. I don't know, that could be different now. You probably save money as a season, but this year, is it going to be, are you going to go the American route, or do you think you're going to go back the kind of the Bosman route?
Yeah, so look, obviously last year, we brought in Andre Kennedy at the start, and then there was a bit of kind of Steve Manovich, who ended up coming to UCC as a UCC doing a master's degree as a Serbian. Because of his schooling, he ended up having to play as a Canadian. So then him and Andre couldn't play together. It didn't make sense to have two, I suppose, category 2 players, you know, subbing in for each other at National League level. So we had to make the decision, obviously, and then Toby came available. We brought Toby in. Toby obviously isn't returning. He's signed to go play in Italy. He had a really good kind of second half of the season when he finished up with us, played in Italy, and he's gone back to play there. We have a European guy who's due in next week. We'll bring that bit of height, because last year we didn't have much height in terms of Toby at kind of 6'7", who played on the wing, Talat kind of 6'6", 6'7", who, you know, we didn't play a lot of back to the basket. We were much more of a kind of a rebound and run transition team. And, you know, obviously, look, we do another couple of weeks to see the door is still open. We're still kind of looking at different options. You know, being honest, the last couple of weeks, we've been missing a lot. We've been amalgamating all the training. So we've had under 18s, 20s and the Super League together to try to make up a core group to see what we have. But no, kind of only from last night there's a couple of extra bodies coming back that were kind of on holidays and had, you know, different injuries and different things like that, you know. So we're just kind of reevaluating now to see where we are and what if we are to sign one more, who will it be, and what's the best position to make us as strong as possible, you know.
Probably another question I'd say people want to know is, has he retired internationally? I've had conversations with him. I can't get an answer out of him either. What do you think is going to happen with him? Is he going to be involved in some way? Is he going to play?
No, look, he'll catch out the bag, and Kyle is definitely going to try and play.
Okay.
And that's kind of like Kyle will look. You know him; he's a competitor. He always wants to play.
Yeah.
He's, you know, I was going to put pressure on him. Obviously, he's due to get married now in 12 months. I was going to have one more year, and I don't think it's the want. I think he'd always want to play.
Yeah.
At the end of last year, you know, we were nursing Kyle. There was times he wasn't able to train because he was picking up injuries, you know, different things like that. What I was always kind of reminding him of is the last couple of years while we were all off basketball with COVID, because Kyle was involved in the senior men's Irish team.
Yeah.
He was training right through. So I remember last summer Kyle was training hard with the Irish team, and then because of the excitement, him being back with Demons being back in the National League, you know, he came right in at the start. So he didn't really have any off season.
Yeah.
And then come kind of February, he was, you know, hobbling around the place. So at the moment, he's kind of doing a lot of stuff in the gym himself. Look, he's saying that he'd be involved, but again, in terms of, you know, how much, we don't really know right now. And his body probably depend on what his body will allow, you know.
Yeah. Look, your Demons through and through. Demons are back in the Superleague. I just want to know now whether it's being a part of the team or watching it from the stands. What's your best memory of Demons playing at the top level?
Probably, you know, I remember as a young fella, maybe like under 14 and 15, going to Dublin for the weekend of the old, let's say, the Spring Cup, when it was all on the same weekend.
Yeah.
You go up on the Saturday and you go to watch Demons play on the Saturday night. Then, you know, we'd go off, then we'd play kind of, let's say, what is now Closhdain, but at the time it was not Denny, Notre Dame, and Clester, and, you know, obviously I would have had a lot of like Scott and White, so would have been the same age as me, and Robbie Clark on Clester, and we would have played against them and became great friends because of that. And then you obviously go back and watch the cup. So I think it was just, you know, there at the time, being, you know, the young Demons fan, looking at the time, obviously I remember like it was Pat Price coaching Demons, you know, winning the National Cup there that time. Obviously also being up there when Demons, you know, lost there to, it was actually Denny in, you know, 99. So seeing Demons lose and seeing like the ecstasy, the agony,
how much it meant to people, like.
Yeah, like, and then even, you know what, even just see the likes of the fans with me at the time as well, wearing the blue T-shirt at the Demons club, or selling in the hotel, or handing out to all the fans, all that kind of stuff. And then I suppose then to fast forward, you know, 99, you know, like, you know, fast forward kind of 13 years.
Yeah.
And here, you know, and there I am kind of growing up. And there I am growing up, and there I'm doing coaching, and you know, in the Green Isle on the way to the cup final, and they're giving me the Guard of Honour. Like, so I think they're probably memories that will stay with me forever, you know.
And you're one of the fellas who kind of made a transition from being a player to a coach. Like, who would you be kind of like looking up to now as a coach? Like, who would you be getting inspiration from? Is it in Ireland? Is it in Europe or America, or what?
Look, I'm very much like that now. Like I said, it's from anywhere, you know. At the end of the day, like, you know, I don't like the coach who says, this is my drill, I invented it, you know. Like, at the end of the day, like, James Naismith invented basketball, you know, and basketball, it can be played so many different ways. And sometimes, you know, you might watch, whether it be a coaching thing on YouTube, or, you know, you see it, whether it be anywhere, or even in a book, and you see different coaches, how they do different drills. And, you know, we all borrow, beg and steal each other's ideas and things like that, you know. So I think over the years, it's always been a kind of a variation of different things, you know. So, like, from a young age, the likes of, you know, obviously, starting off, obviously, the likes of Shawnee Murphy, and then up to the likes of kind of Brother Philip and Damien Kennedy, who had us kind of on the 15 and 17. Then I was quite lucky. Then obviously I had some great coaches. Obviously, Pat Rice came in, he coaches for a while. Then obviously I had Doug Schleicher coaching, you know. Then we had Cormac O'Donoghue, who was very successful, you know, and then he came in and coached Demons.
Yeah.
So luckily, kind of, I had a lot of that, and I was always someone who wasn't afraid to try and get a better understanding or even pick someone's brain. I remember when I first moved to Dublin, I played Division 1 with Clester, and we were playing Castle Island Cup. and I was in Jermaine Turner's car driving to Castleisle of Dublin, with a hell of a trip, and the whole way down we just spoke about his first time coming to Ireland, and obviously he was coaching us at the time, and spoke to things like, you know, like I love to kind of ask a lot of questions and get a better understanding, and, you know, things like that, you know. And I think just that, and like just definitely I'm open to learn, always open to learn. Like, and I think last year, from the first game to the last game, I learned stuff about myself, stuff about the team, what worked, what didn't work, and I'm sure this year again will be a big learning curve as well for me.
Last question for you here. It's probably a bit of probably a hard one. It might get you in trouble, but you know, if you could pick one Irish player from a different team to come play for Demons, who would it be and why? Could be any team in the league now.
Current player? Or?
Current player, yeah. Current player in the Super League. You could pick one Irish player. Who's it going to be and why?
He's probably going to announce retirement, but he'll probably come back out of retirement. But it'd definitely be Conor Meany.
Yeah. And why is that?
I think he's always the man to make the big shots, like, you know.
Yeah.
And I remember a couple of years ago when Marion won the first, when they won the first kind of cup there for a number of years, you know. Obviously at the time they had, you know, whether it be an American on the court, they had a big European, different things like that. But when push came to shove, it was always kind of Conor who was willing to step up and take the big shot. He kind of reminded me a bit like, I suppose, when I was a kid watching the likes of Shane Collin, when it came to it, somebody needs to take the big shot, he did it. Yeah. And obviously Conor's family are, you know, Marion diehards, and the time all of his brothers and his father has given to the club, and he plays for that, like, you know, so his passion alone for that. So no, he would definitely be someone.
Yeah, you have to pay big bucks to get him down to Cork now. Like,
he probably won't be playing. Hopefully he won't be playing. He's
yeah, but he retired last year as well, and I saw him down the stadium. Then he had about 20 points. I was like, "What's the point saying you're going to retire? Like, if you're still able to drop 20, like so." But no, Danny, thanks for everything, Mike. I wish you the best. I hope you don't do too well now as a Neptune fella, but I hope you have a great season.
Right, Adam, appreciate it. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Talk to you soon. Thank you. Bye.